Hey guys, Harry here, and welcome to another episode of Harry Talks. I'm joined by JustAlilBester, based in London, a brilliant runner who yesterday achieved a brilliant time of 15 minutes 16 for the 5K, and he's got a numerous amount of challenges coming up for the rest of the year, including a virtual race, of which we'll discuss. He's also a coach, qualified coach, and helps out so many runners achieve their goals. But yeah, Nick, if you'd like to introduce yourself, say a few things, that would be awesome.
Cool. Hey, Harry. Thanks for having me on your show. Yeah, when you introduced me there, you started with my 5K time of 15:16. It would have been so much nicer if it started with a 14 instead of a 15.
Yeah,
But that's the long-term goal. I mean, yeah, if anything, it made me realize how tough a sub 15-minute 5K is, and it should definitely not be underestimated. So, yeah, let me start off by talking about my running goals for the year and the sub 15-minute 5K challenge that I took on Friday. So the three main running goals for the year that I had at the start of the year, the one was to break 70 minutes for the half marathon.
yeah.
I managed to do that twice this year. Actually, at the big half, I did a 69:49. So
Outside London as well, right?
yeah. That's
Yeah,
so that's central London.
yeah.
So that was really such a sweet feeling. I've been trying to break 70 for quite a while.
Mm.
And then the week after, actually, I ended up running a 68. So I took a minute off. That was
The
at
week after.
yeah, that was the week after at the Cambridge Half Marathon.
Oh
So
well, so what made you do a half, like, kind
I
of
just
again?
you know what, it was crazy. So I mean, looking at the whole coronavirus situation at the moment, I'm glad I did all these races when I did. But
Mm.
when I initially planned the race schedule, I had planned to do Hampton Court half, and then the week after to do the big half, and then the week after to do Cambridge half.
Oh my God.
I mean, I've been running for a lot of years, and I'm a coach myself, so I know you can't really race week in and week out. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna pick one. Which one do I want to do? And I was like, the big half is through central London. Mo Farah is running it. It's a big stage event. It's like the half marathon for London Marathon. That'll be special to me. So I identified that as the main one for me to break 70.
Yeah.
So I did Hampton Court the week before, and I did a 72, and that was fairly comfortable. So I finished second that race. First place was pretty close to me, and I really wanted to go like try and win it. But I was like, Nick, if you hold back now, you can break 70, which would mean
Yeah.
more. So I was disciplined. I held back. Then it was quite strange. So big half, I had the perfect race build up. I got my like extra hour sleep. I carbo loaded nicely. I kept everything clean that week. My head was in the right space. And when I started going, I just didn't have that like extra kick or that extra X factor that you just hope you sometimes get in a race.
Yeah.
Like I just felt a bit sluggish, even though I had the perfect build up. I just wasn't like flying and like running comfortably. So,
Mm.
anyways, I thought, okay, this is the pace I need to do. I can do it still. So it didn't feel comfortable, and I knew it would get really tough. And I managed to bank a bit of time. And then the last 5Ks, as you know, the last section of a race always gets a bit tough.
Yeah.
My pace started slowing a little bit, so I knew I had a bit of time to play with. And then I only really knew that I would break 70 on that finishing stretch, which is really cool. There's like a whole big crowds of people and stuff. So that was really cool. And then the next weekend in Cambridge, I kind of the night before we were actually babysitting our friends' kids, and I got home at 1 in the morning, and I
Mm.
hadn't had my normal race food, and I was like, I got only a few hours sleep, and I hadn't
Yeah.
really tapered for the race, and I was like a bit tired from the weekend before. And then the race started, and I got into like quite a good group early on, and I was just banging out quicker times than the week before, and I was like, okay, well let me ride this ship while it's going. I don't know how long it's gonna last, but
Yeah.
like the legs are feeling okay. And yeah, half marathon is one of those things where you can actually hang in for quite a while. Got into a good group, like I said. And next thing I was coming down the finishing straight, and I did a 68. So yeah, that was incredible for me. It was completely unplanned, and that's why I say the sports, sometimes it can take you by surprise. When you have the best build up, you sometimes don't have the perfect race, and sometimes when you have the worst build up, you have the best race. So that was the first goal for me, sub 70. The next one was a sub 32-minute 10K.
Mm.
I had done like 32:30, 32:40, so I had to find a good half a minute.
Mm.
And I managed to do that towards the end of Feb. Actually, it was a 10K race in Battersea. Most runners in London know Battersea. It's I know it's very, very popular for running. So that was quite nice. I managed to do a 31:52. So that was goal 2 of 3. Then the last goal, which
just quickly for the half marathon and 10K.
Yeah.
What average pace is that in kilometers or miles, whatever you work in for both half and 10K?
Yeah. So I work in kilometers.
Kilometers.
It's okay, cool. So my minutes per K for the half marathon was 3:16. Yeah, thanks. And then my pace for the 10K was 3:06.
That's just unreal. I'm trying to get for 5K about 3:16. So to hear you've done it for a half marathon is insane, man. Insane.
Keep on grinding. I know. I never ever thought I'd get there myself. So it's amazing. Maybe you'll be in my position in a few years' time. You never know. So
who knows, man? Who knows?
And then so if you look at it like that, so half marathon 3:16 a K, 10K 3:06 a K, 5K I want to get to 3 minutes a K with 1K at 2:59. So you would think it's sort of in line, but though I'm built more for like half marathons and marathons, and obviously my background's like ultra marathons. So for me, like the fast twitch muscles and the 5Ks are tougher than like a longer distance goal. You know, there's a lot of people that will be quicker than me over shorter stuff that I'll be able to catch in the longer stuff. So that's why this 5K challenge is a really, really big one for me. So the target for me is to try and break 15 minutes. So I set out on Friday for it. I had a really, really good week. I tapered nicely. The way I run is that in a 5K, I know it's like 5Ks can be tough when you go hard. So it's
horrible, isn't it?
The first 2Ks, the first K normally always goes quickly, no matter how you feel. The second K is okay, but it's K 3 and 4.
Yeah,
is the breaker,
because you know it's not like the final push, so it's that bit you really got to stick in, right?
Exactly. So like in the last K, when I can smell the finish, and I'm sure you may be similar, like there's adrenaline, you can go, you can run off fumes, and you can make it. But like K 2 to 3, 3 to 4, it's kind of like you just past halfway, you're really fatigued, but you can't smell the finish. So so I started off and I had to do 4 kilometers at 3 minutes a K, my last one at 2:59. I invited 1 or 2 people to do it with me, but I actually ended up doing it solo. I got quite a nice group a group of mates to support me, which made a huge difference, which was really cool. That's then awesome. I got really technical, so I printed the splits for each 200, and I got a friend on the start line that started me, and I got a friend on the 200-meter line of the track. And every 200-meter line, they were calling my split. So they were saying like on track, 1 second under, 1 second over. So basically, it was like calculated. This is what needs to be done.
Just a bit like Kipchoge's attempt for the marathon, wasn't it?
Exactly. Except he pulls it off all the time, you know.
Oh, you got close, man. You got very close.
So the first K. Okay, so I had to average 72 seconds per 400 meters. My first 400, I did 68 seconds. So I was 4 seconds under. So I went off like a racehorse, but I had so much adrenaline and I was so pumped up for it. I just felt comfortable. And then I was like, okay, no, 68 is definitely not sustainable. So I had banked 4 seconds. I then slowed it down a bit. And my first kilometer was on 3 minutes. My next kilometer was bang on 3 minutes as well. And at that stage, I was actually feeling pretty good. I was like, okay, I'm dead on track for 15, but I can pick it up second half. And then that 2 to 3 just came, and I felt I was pushing quicker, and it felt like I was moving faster. But every time I went past him, my mate would be 1 second over, 2 seconds over, 3 seconds over. And as soon as it got to 4 or 5, I was like, that's almost impossible to pull back. But then, you know what? I was like, you know what? Let me not give up. My PB is 15:20. Let me see how close I can get. So I managed to. So I did a 3:08 for the next 2Ks, and then the last K I pulled it back and I did a 3-minute K.
Right.
Yeah. So I finished in 15:16, like you mentioned earlier, which was awesome. And I think if anything, it's taught me how hard sub 15-minute 5Ks is for me. 2, that I can definitely get there without a doubt. But 3, the next time I try it, will be in a group. So it'll be in race conditions, and I'll get stuck in a group. I think solo, you always think you're pushing as hard as you can, but I can guarantee you, if you put like a competitive person next to you and in front of you and behind you, you'll find that extra kick. So
100%.
yeah. So next time, and I suggest the same for you. You're looking to break 16:30, you said.
Yeah, 16:30. Yeah.
So I would say, so if you can do 16:45 solo,
Yeah.
get race conditions, get a group, and that'll put you into sub 16:30. That's my thinking.
I hope so, but I completely agree with you though. Like whenever you do, whether it's part run or a race, for some reason it just feels easier at the same pace than if you're doing it solo. So to do 15:16 solo is pretty unbelievable for, pretty much everyone out there. Like looking at that time and, to be averaging splits at that would have been about 3:06 on average, is
No,
it?
I think it's like 3:03.
3:03. Oh yeah, because
Yeah.
there were 3 threes, weren't there? It's just mental, really. Like a lot of people, understandably, can't even sprint at that pace. So to sustain it for 5K is quite unbelievable. And I bet you can't wait to see the 2:59 average. That'll just look unreal if that does come.
Cool.
Will. So you still have that goal. You still want to break that sub 15. But now you're kind of moving on to a virtual marathon upcoming for the rest of the year. And I know you did a little post saying running's kind of funny. Sometimes when you're training for a half or a marathon, you could go for a 5K and somehow get that time you want out of nowhere, even though you're not necessarily doing speed work. But you've got this upcoming virtual race and you're going to involve a lot of people. You've got loads of sponsors, and generally it just looks like an awesome event. So if you'd like to speak a bit about that, it'd be awesome, mate.
Most definitely. Hopefully I'll have you doing the half marathon as well if you're up for it.
I can't wait.
Committed. No, so
it's going to be what time I'll do, but I'll give it.
Cool. Yeah, at least we'll start together, and then we'll have to do. I suppose these days you have a video call afterwards and have a post race beer together. That's the way to do it, eh?
Yeah, I love that.
So this year, obviously London's normally my main marathon. So being more of a marathon runner, it's such a special race to me, and it's something I look forward to. Like every year, I'm like, January comes, cool, 4 months training till London, give it my all, and then take a little bit of a break. So all of those 10K PBs and the half marathon PBs were in prep for London, and I was planning on, like, I was really going into London in PB shape. And then London, obviously the coronavirus came and it got moved to October. So I was like, okay, great, it's fine. Let's prep for it in October. October is creeping up on us now. And obviously, it's been announced that it's an elite only, and there's only a handful of people doing it around St. James's Park and Green Park, and that's a small loop, and Kipchoge and Bekele going at it against each other. And then I thought, you know what? I'm really keen to do a marathon still. I know a lot of runners out there are very keen to do a marathon still. So what I've been doing is I've been organizing like a whole lot of virtual races. So I've been doing virtual race series where it's like a series of 4 races. There's a 5K, a 10K, a 1 mile, and a half marathon, for example. And a lot of the people in this virtual race series just loved being able to chat and share their like race experience with others and stuff like that. And a lot of them asked me, they're like, Nick, do you think you could put together a race where we want like a post-race medal, we want a race t-shirt, we want the pre-pack, we want a running number, we just want the vibe back, So I was like, sure, okay, cool, let's see how it goes. I mean, I'm really keen for it as well. So yeah, contacted quite a few great corporate sponsors, and thanks to all of them who got on board. So that's the race pack's really, really, really cool. There's some awesome. I mean, I'm not going to go through all the details now. But I would say, so an entry's £30. I would say the race pack's probably valued at about £80, which is just good value in itself already.
I've had a quick look at it, obviously, with the link, and like I've been blown away by how much you get. Some like huge races you don't get as much as that. So fair play to you, and fair play to all the sponsors involved, man.
Yeah, no, it's been cool. It's been cool. Almost everyone I chatted to wanted, like, they were really, really keen to get on board. So that was awesome. And then so and since then it's actually just taken off, and the more people that enter, the better, because the more people that do it on that day, we share it together. It's obviously it's a tricky position in that I can't advertise an official route at the moment, because races aren't officially going ahead. But what I'm doing is I'm doing it in Battersea Park, and there's the full marathon, there's a half marathon, a 10K and a 5K. So I'll confirm closer to the time, but I'm gonna start the marathon at maybe 8:30 in the morning, the half marathon at 10, and then the 10 and the 5K at 11, so that people will all generally finish around the same time.
Okay.
So yeah, I've just said I'm doing it in Battersea, 8:30 on the 4th, same day as what London was meant to be. I know London's a bit of a far trip for you, so I don't know if you'll be making it that day. But since I've said that, there's been so many people that are like, okay, cool, I'm really keen to join. That the one downside to Battersea is that a loop is only 2.8 Ks, so it's just over 15 loops, which is mentally tough. But then again, if you think Bekele and Kipchoge are doing 19.8 loops, so that already makes you feel like, okay, let me not be soft, let's do this. And the other cool thing is that you can set up a table with a water point. So there's a water point every 2.8 Ks, which is perfect. And then mates that come along to support, they'll see you every 2.8 Ks. So for them, it's cool. And for runners, I mean, there's if someone's running a 4-hour marathon, and let's say I'm trying to do a sub 2:30 marathon, which is most likely what I'll be going for, then at least we'll see each other a lot along the route. So in 15 laps, you might cross paths quite a lot of times. So it'll be not just nice to really motivate each other, and that's why I can see a lot of people entering, because it's horrible doing a marathon by yourself. It's nice being in it together, and there's a lot of people doing the half marathon as well, and I think a really cool thing about getting as many people to do it in Battersea Park as possible, obviously following social distancing measures, but the fact that we could all have a post-race drink afterwards. So we'll be there. There's obviously there's a race T-shirt. There's hopefully it'll be a decent day. There'll be an awesome medal. And that's something I just really, really miss in this whole thing. So I mean, registrations are probably going to be open until closer to the end of August. So I think the more the merrier. That's what I'm thinking. And really looking forward to that. And so target time wise, would you like to know what I'm targeting?
So I'm assuming you're going to be aiming below 2:30, but I don't know how far under.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm gonna go. So my last marathon. Let me rewind a little bit quickly before I tell you my target. About how I.
I really want to know this.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So okay. So this was probably the biggest running goal of mine, was a 2:30 a sub 2:30 marathon. I never thought it would ever be possible, to be honest. Especially when I first got into running for a few years. I used to run an ultra marathon in South Africa called Comrades Marathon.
Yeah.
And I was really quite a strong ultra runner, but my marathon PB at the time was 2:44. And
how long was that Comrades ultra marathon?
So that's a 90-kilometer race.
So
it's basically 2 marathons plus a park run.
On
quite a
love that.
Yeah, it's the most incredible race. You should definitely do it one day. But it's obviously a lot of sacrifice, but it's a beautiful race. But then back then my marathon PB was 2:44, and I was hovering around the 2:44 stage. Obviously, to take it to the next level would be to target 2:30 at 2:44 is almost impossible, because there's a lot of time you need to shave off, a good 15 minutes. So then I did 3 Comrades in South Africa, and then I came across to London, and I worked at my previous company. They had a lot of London marathon entries. So I came over in January, and I had quite a bad Achilles injury at the time. In February, I hadn't run in January and February, and then in March, beginning of March, the head of marketing came to me and he said, "Okay, I heard you're quite a runner. Someone's pulled out of the London Marathon. Do you want an entry?" I was like, I hadn't run for like maybe 4 months. My Achilles was bad. And I was just like, there's no ways I'm turning this down. Like, please give me that entry. I will take it.
Yeah.
So I got the
I love
entry.
that.
And I thought, okay, I mean, I'm not even walking properly. My Achilles is sore, but let me try and train through this. And yeah, just completely trained through it. The more I trained, the better it got. It was strange. It was like almost like, okay, my body had enough.
Injuries can be weird like
I
that,
know.
can't they?
It was like I was trying to do everything right to get it better. It wasn't getting better. I then started training full on, and I was like, okay, I'm done sulking. Let's get you into
Yeah.
good. So I trained probably for about a month, and I hadn't been running for about 6 months before then. So it wasn't long at all. I then was like I wasn't in great shape, and I did London. So this was 3 years ago, and I did a 242. So that was my PB at the time, and I thought, wow, if like I really don't feel like I'm in good shape, this marathon is a quick marathon compared to the ones in South Africa that I was used to. I was used to like hilly, hot marathons in South Africa where there's like just a handful of supporters. This just blew my mind. It was like hot. I was like flat, perfect weather with like 750,000 people screaming for you through a beautiful like central London. I was just blown away. I didn't even feel tired. So I was like, okay, no, you know what?
Yeah.
I'm gonna train for a year and I'm gonna try and break 230 next year. So I did that. I trained for like solidly for a year. Got into great shape. Um, was really, really, really feeling like pretty confident that I could do 230. And then it was that really hot year. So it wasn't this London,
Yeah.
it was the one before. And it was like it was the hottest London marathon in like I don't
I
know,
remember it, yeah.
I think. So people were like, "Oh, you South African, it's hot in South Africa, it might work in your favor." And I was like, "No, I've been in England for a long time. My body's adjusted now. It is not used to this heat." So yeah, so I did I actually had a good run. I finished in 235.
Yeah.
So I was happy with my position. Obviously my time.
What's that average pace wise again?
So to break 230, you need to go at 333 a kilometer.
Okay.
And I did 235. Oh, it's probably about 339 a kilometer.
Yeah, that makes sense, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I was on track at halfway, and then just the heat hit me, and I was trying to be stubborn, and I was in denial, and then I just couldn't do it. So then I was like, oh man, okay, maybe next year, okay. But then the next year, I had my wedding and my honeymoon like 3 weeks before London Marathon. Bad planning, eh?
Yeah. Not
Um,
ideal.
and on my honeymoon, it was like we went to Mauritius, and it was like all inclusive. So it was like
Wow, okay.
all you can drink cocktails, like the most beautiful food. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna live life. I'm not gonna let this marriage like don't like
So
I've got
you
it.
should.
I'm in
Yeah.
good shape. Whatever. It's my honeymoon once. Let's do it properly. So I drank everything and ate everything, and it was just the most incredible time.
Yeah.
And then I got back, and I was like, okay, I definitely can't do 230 now. Let me just enjoy it.
Yeah.
And then the start of the race went, and I got into a really, really good group. It was quite windy early on, and I got into this group that was like 20 people, and I knew it was a little bit too quick for me because I've done quite a lot. At that stage, I'd done, I think, 22 marathons. So I've done a lot, and I know my body, and I knew it wasn't sustainable, but I was like, let me just bank some time and see how long it lasts without completely imploding. So I stayed in the group, and then halfway came, and I went through halfway in 72, actually 71:59. So if you double that up,
Okay.
that's a 224 marathon.
Yeah.
So
So well ahead of pace.
yeah, so if I did equal splits, which is normally the way I like to run, I would have done it at 224. So yeah, I was well ahead of pace, but then reality kicked in last 10K. Okay. So then last 10Ks, I was like, okay, I've banked so much time. I just need to get through these 10Ks at a comfortable pace. And I kept on trying to do the maths every kilometer. But at that stage of the race, your maths brain doesn't work properly. Your brain goes a bit scrambled, and like, I mean, I work with splits all the time. I can work up pace, but in the last 10Ks of a marathon, your brain is like yeah, it's like mashed potato. Your
Your body's under so much pressure,
exactly
physically, mentally,
exactly.
everything.
So I kept on trying to work out the pace, Eventually I was like, okay, don't look, just run. And then it came down to I had to do the last kilometer in 3:34 to break 2:30.
Oh man.
And my average pace at the time was 3:33. And in the beginning of the first 5Ks, I was averaging 3:22. So like way under. So what I would have done for just one more of those.
Yeah.
And I was just really, really fatigued. And I thought, you know what? I've come so far. I'm not giving up. Like, it's almost possible for me, but I'm not giving up. Like, I'll never forgive myself if I give up now. So I picked it up. And then I got to like the 800-meter mark, and I was like, this is not sustainable. If I go at this speed, I'm going to collapse on the side. Yeah. So then I slowed down to the 600-meter mark. And then at the 600-meter mark, I was like, no, let me pick it up again. Picked it up to the 400. Wasn't sustainable. Picked it up to the slowed down to the 200. At the 200, you turn the corner by Buckingham Palace, and you finish down the mall, and you can see the clock in front of you.
Yeah.
And I was like, I could see the clock, and I was like, okay, let me give it my absolute all. Like, let me sprint for this thing. And the clock just seemed to be ticking a tiny bit too fast. Like, I just had that feeling when I was looking at the clock and sprinting that it was just every second was just a little bit quicker than a second almost. And wow, when I look at videos, my running form was dreadful. My hamstring was like about a cramp. I was like, yeah, I looked like a crab, but I was
I can't imagine what that was like, man.
Sprinting, and it went 2:30:01, and then I crossed the line, and I was just like, I just like collapsed, and I was like, no ways. And then there was an official, like the marshals there, they try and get people through quite quickly. So the official like looked at me, he's like, are you okay, mate? And I was like, I'm actually not okay. Like I just did 2:30 and 1 second. He looked at me, he's like, oh, that's a great time, well done. Like, can you move down a bit? And I was just like, come on. And then and then I was like, so that was a hard pill to swallow, because I had gone for it the year before. It was hot. This year I wasn't meant to go for it, or that year I wasn't meant to go for it. So to come so close and not run it cleverly the way I did was just, it was emotionally damaging for a little bit. But
and I guess just quickly at that point, you could have said to yourself, right, you know what, it's pointless. I'm going to give up. Like a lot of people probably would in that scenario, but instead, as you'll discuss now, I guess, you went on and pushed again a few months later, right?
Yeah, that's exactly it. So, you know what? When I look back at it now, it's pretty funny, because like the thing is, I made it very clear that sub 2:30 was my goal. So a lot of my mates. I mean, my mates, they're not very faint-hearted, so they'll rub it in my face that they actually called me 0.1 for a long time.
Oh no!
So yeah, I mean, it was motivational. It was very, very motivational. So I was like, okay, cool, it's fine. I did a 2:30:01. Like, it's a 5-minute PB, but yeah, it's like a bit of a sick joke. Cool. Let me really go for it next time. So then I got into Berlin Marathon in the September. So this is September last year. That's actually the last marathon that I did, official marathon. And I got into really good shape. So that I didn't have my honeymoon before, and I was like, cool.
Did I have another honeymoon?
No. So I really got into great shape, and I was like quicker than ever, and I was like way better shape than London. So I was like, okay, if I do a good race. But then I was training with a shin niggle the whole time, and I've always had quite a few niggles, and I've had very few injuries. And every time I ran, it would be sore in the beginning. It would then warm up, and then it would be sore afterwards. So it was like minor shin splints, what I thought.
Okay.
But I was like, okay, it got like a little bit worse. And I was like, okay, it's not at that stage where I need to stop running, but I can feel it, you know? And then in my last 2 big weeks, so 5 weeks out of Berlin, I really like pushed the mileage, because those are the ones that counted. My last long run, and then it was like, I had like a 3-week taper, but as soon as I'd finished my last long run, I could feel it was really painful. So I was like, okay, let me just put some RCPs on it. Maybe it'll be better tomorrow. And the next day I was like limping to work. I was like, okay, don't panic. The next day I was still limping. The next day I was limping. Anyways, for 3 weeks, I didn't run at all up until.
Oh my God.
So I was just like, I was still in great shape because I'd built up. And you don't really lose too much in 3 weeks. but I was just like, I was limping at that stage still. So I went for an MRI on the Thursday. I got the results on the Friday. Berlin Marathon was on the Sunday.
Oh my God.
And the results was that I had a stress reaction in my shin.
Okay.
So the doctor was like, okay, he advises that I don't run. But if I don't run, I need 6 weeks break. If I do run, I'm going to need 8 weeks break. So I was like, it's an extra 2 weeks. I've got no more races planned for the rest of the year. Had I had other races planned, I probably wouldn't have done it. And then so I was like, okay, let me do it. So I got to the start of Berlin. I actually didn't even start my Strava. I started a stopwatch because I thought my thinking behind that was, I know I'm not going to get through this because I was quite sore. So I was like, let me start.
How far did you expect to get?
I probably at that stage, I thought I'd probably get 5Ks in and it would get really sore because I hadn't run for 3 weeks, so I didn't know. And I thought, you know what, I don't want it to sink to Strava and people see that I'm like 5Ks into Berlin and pulled over. So I was like, realistically, I don't think I'm going to finish. So let me just start my stopwatch. So started my stopwatch, and 5Ks came in, and I was way over 2:30 pace, but my leg was okay and I was running okay. Then 10Ks came and I was running okay. Like I felt very comfortable. My form wasn't perfect because my leg was a bit sore. And then eventually I got to the 21K mark and my leg was still on. and my form was okay. And I thought, you know what? And when I got to that stage, I was on track for a 2:32. So I had to do a negative split, but I think it was 1 minute and 50 seconds. But I felt really.
Did you know at that point you had to do that split?
I knew that I needed to do a negative split by just under 2 minutes, which is a big ask because I mean that fatigue kicks in a marathon second half. But the fact that my leg was okay gave me so much adrenaline that I was like, okay, today is the day that I make things right.
Yeah.
So I picked it up from there till like 30, from there till 35, 40 came, and then. Because I ran really easy in the beginning, I was relatively fresh, but at about the 40K mark, so 2Ks left, like fatigue really kicked in, sort of similar to London. And I thought, I was just like, oh man, I get goosebumps when I think about it because I can still picture those roads in Berlin. But I was like, I cannot believe this is happening to me again. Like, I'm not going to miss this. But I was like, but I can't physically go faster. Like, I just can't, but I'm not missing this. And I was like, just think about how painful that was. Just you can't let that happen again. And then you go through like quite a big arch. You know what happened actually? So I had 2Ks left, and I missed the 1K to go marker. And because I wasn't running with my GPS, I was running with the stopwatch. I had no clue how far I had. So I thought, okay, let me do the maths. When I have 1K left, I did it in 3:30. That's fine. I can do it. And I was running, and also it's motivational seeing 1K to go so you can pick it up. But I completely missed the 1K to go mark. And I thought, and I was running, and then I looked at my watch, and my watch said 2:27, and I hadn't gone through the 1K. I'd missed it, and I was just like, there's no ways I can do like a sub 3-minute K or whatever. So I was like, I can't believe it's happening again. Anyways, so I went through the arch, and then next thing, I saw something that looked like the clock, and I was like, and then I looked closer, and then it was the clock, and I was like, this is the finishing stretch. So I got him. I ran my absolute heart out. And that time I looked at the clock, and that time the clock was ticking perfectly. It wasn't going faster. So I actually, funny story is I finished the clock. When I finished, it said 2:30:01 on the clock, but I took 10 seconds to cross the start mat at the beginning. So
okay.
I lined up way at the back because I was taking it easier. So I knew I'd bank 10 seconds.
Yeah.
So I went through, it said 2:30:01 from when the gun went off, but it was obviously mat to mat is 2:29:50. So I knew that I had 10 seconds, but I still was like not sure until I kept on running through to get my phone. And then as I got my phone, I was just getting so many phone calls like from mates and family, and I was just trying to refresh the app to like declining calls and refreshing the app, and then I saw 2:29:50, and I was like,
oh man, I bet that was an unbelievable feeling when you finally got the confirmation.
Oh, it was amazing. I mean, after what I'd gone through with the stress fracture in my shin and London, it was just the sweetest feeling in the world there.
What an incredible story, man.
Yeah,
Honestly.
I mean, had I not got the injury, I probably would have been in quite a bit better shape. But
Did
yeah,
you
just made it
did
even.
you finish session was like, did you not have any problems after that with it?
Oh, so when I finished that night, we went out in Berlin, and I drank all the steins and had like schnitzel. It's
Right.
so festive in Germany, and I was jumping around, and I thought it was gone. I was like, I've run this like it's gone completely. The next day, we stayed in a hotel, and the lift was about 15 meters from our door. That walk took me about 25 minutes.
Oh my God.
Then when we got to the bottom, the train station was a 3-minute walk. I phoned an Uber to take me to the train station. My leg was in trouble. At that stage, I was like, I don't know if I'm
Oh
gonna
my
make it.
God.
But in time, everything heals, and 8 weeks later, I was ready to build up again. So yeah. So going back to your point now on what I'll be targeting. So
Yeah.
my last marathon was Berlin 2:29:50. Hopefully, I don't go through the same drama as was. So I'd like to do a PB.
Yeah.
I'd like to do anything under 2:29:50.
Okay.
It's a bit tricky in Battersea because it's not a big stage marathon where there's going to be a big crowd and
Mm.
groups to run with. I'll be doing it solo. So I think anything under 2:30 and PB would be awesome. But I know I can. So once I sort out the sub 15-minute 5K challenge of mine that I really want to get done, I then think I'll focus on the marathon distance again, and I'll probably set a goal of sub 2:25.
Okay.
So I got to knock off another 5 minutes of my marathon time, but I mean, I know I'm capable of a lot better having gone through what I did last time. And obviously, like I'm luckily that and thankfully and grateful to be able to improve every year.
Mm.
So next year I'd love to break 2:25 in the marathon distance. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think let me try and get the 5K sub 50-minute 5K done first.
Yeah, I mean 2:25. I mean 2:30 incredible, but 2:25 would take it to another level. And obviously, I wish you all the best in getting that sub 15 as well. So yeah, with the upcoming marathon that you're going to attempt,
Mm,
obviously as it's not like an official race like the London Marathon, I guess nutrition. I don't know how you feel for
mm.
something like a London Marathon because I haven't done. I have done a marathon, but not like a big stage marathon.
Okay.
Will that come into it? Will that be a challenge addressing the nutrition for that or
Yeah,
not?
yeah, yeah. So my nutrition will be exactly the same as what I would do for London or for
Okay.
Berlin or anything like that. So I'm actually really lucky from the point of view that I've found out what works for me, and I've now done 24 marathons, and not once have I ever had like a really bad stitch or had to go to the bathroom or tummy issues.
Mm.
So I know exactly what works for me. So I just stick to that plan religiously and I don't change it. Um,
Okay.
so nutrition rise. Okay, I'll talk you through it quickly. In the morning, I usually just have peanut butter on toast. I wish I could eat
That's
oats.
it.
It's really good
Yeah.
fuel, but peanut butter on toast is I just love it. I look
Yeah.
forward to it. I then have a race bar around an hour to go. Sorry, the toast I have is whole wheat bread, so
Okay.
it's a slow release.
Yeah.
So I have a race bar and an hour to go, and
When
then
you say a race bar,
so sort of like
what do you? A,
I usually go for the most natural bars if possible. So Tribe Sports make a lot of natural bars. So it'll be
yeah.
like a protein and a higher carb and protein bar. Science and Sport ones are pretty good. There's actually Oatine ones which are quite nice. Um, I used to like the grenade ones, but that's more of like a chocolate bar than energy bar. So that's the bar that I would usually have an hour before, and I then would take like an electrolyte drink to sip at the start, and just get like slip through the whole bottle, and then I take 4 gels en route. So I'll take one at the start. So of the 4 gels, there's one caffeine gel which I take at the end. So I'll take one at the start. I'll take one at 11 k's, one at 21 k's, and then one at 33 k's. So basically every
Okay.
every 11 or 12 k's. And then the last one I take is a caffeine one, just because caffeine can obviously mess with your stomach a bit sometimes. So I'd rather save it for later. So that's the way that's what I'll do nutrition wise.
Is it Science and Sport again for the gels, or any
So
particular brand?
the gels I take are Morton gels. They're really, really, really good. They're also they're very natural, and they've only got 6 ingredients, and they've scientifically formulated to release like the perfect amount of energy for the marathon distance. So I don't know if you're familiar with the Morton product. They're really, really good.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure doesn't Kipchoge
Yeah,
use them as well,
lot
and the whole.
of the elites. So Mo Farah does, Kipchoge does. Um,
Yeah,
they unfortunately they're not the cheapest on the market.
yeah,
But in my opinion, it's worth it. I'd rather spend an extra few quid on gels and have energy in a marathon, something that we care about a lot, than buying like cheap gels. So that's what I use. And then from a drinks point of view, I usually use the Morton drink mix. So that's like
okay,
also like an electrolyte drink that just has like a slow release energy for marathons. Uh,
yeah.
so that's what I'll be doing for this one. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it sounds good. Morton's kind of a brand that's kind of come on really quickly in the last few years, kind of out of nowhere. Like obviously you see all the sites in sport and all the well-known brands, and then suddenly Morton came out of nowhere, and suddenly all the top athletes are using them. So yeah, they obviously know what they're doing in that regard. I haven't had one myself, but I'm sure they're great. I'm sure they're great. But yeah, seeing as we're on nutrition at the minute, we might as well continue with that a little bit, if that's
Yeah.
okay.
100.
Before we finish with just some general tips for staying motivated,
Cool.
especially in these times. So yeah,
Yeah.
with nutrition, do you follow any kind of general philosophy? Are you vegetarian, vegan? Do you stay away from certain drinks, alcohol, or certain foods? Just let me know generally
Yeah.
what you
Yeah.
like.
No, for sure. So I'm not vegan or vegetarian. I try and do meat-free Mondays, but that isn't often the case. So,
Yeah,
let me tell you what I do and what works for me, and what it works for a lot of my athletes as well. So I'm not saying it will work for you, but in generally, it's been a winning formula for me. So it's helped me improve quite a bit every year. So I'm just going to continue doing it.
yeah,
So from a supplement point of view, let's start with that. So I take every day I take omega-3, I take vitamin B, and I take CalMag. So that's calcium and magnesium. Calcium for your
okay,
bones, magnesium for cramps and sleeping. And then the last thing I take is, not that we've needed it in this heat wave, is vitamin D. So
yeah,
vitamin D, coming from South Africa, vitamin D doesn't really even exist because it's so hot there.
yeah,
So when I came across here, a couple of my local mates were telling me that they take vitamin D because they don't get enough sun, and I would laugh at them, and I was just like, "Ha, like really?" And then I ended up
yeah,
getting a stress fracture from not having vitamin D, so now I take it all the time.
yeah,
So that those are the supplements I take. Okay, and then from a dietary point of view, so I generally I try and keep the weeks very clean. And then I cheat a bit on weekends. I mean, we're not exactly elite athletes. If I was running in the Olympics, then I would maybe monitor everything that goes in my body, but that's not the case. So we don't need to live, like robots. We can live our lives normally, and I find that when I try and get super, super, super strict, then I don't enjoy running as much as I do, because it takes away like a bit of like I want to enjoy life and running, and that's why I run. I run because I love it. I don't run because
100%.
I want to make.
Another quick thing with that,
Yeah,
just quickly to put in, a lot of the time when people are strict, and I've done it myself in the past, it can lead to like a bigger binge, like just because you constantly craving whether it's a chocolate pizza or
exactly.
whatever it is. So treating yourself like little but often, I guess, just not overdoing it is often the best way to go.
Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. So what I do, like my training philosophy follows like one easy day, one harder day, one easy day, one harder day. I've always been a big fan of that. So I try and do back-to-back hard days. I try and avoid back-to-back hard days.
Okay.
And obviously you want your body to recover fully before you smash your next hard session, and then you want to recover fully, smash your next hard session. So in having saying that, my nutrition follows the same sort of pattern. So I will have like increased good carbs for the harder sessions. So the night before. So let's say I'm doing a track session on a Tuesday, which I know is going to be tough. On the Monday night, I may have increased good carbs with my protein. So I'll have something like what I consider good carbs is like sweet potato, brown rice, whole wheat pasta. I mean, if you love your bread, then whole wheat bread as well. But those three things are generally what I consider good carbs. So I'll have increased that the night before and maybe for lunch before a hard session. So that'll give me like the carby easier days. I tend to stay away from carbs a lot. So I'll have like, let's just say like I'll always try and get my protein in. But then I'll have like protein and a lot of veg and a lot of salad. And I'll reduce the carbs. And the reason for that is just to try and keep lean. Obviously, the leaner you are, generally the better you'll feel in a race and stuff like that. So I'm very, very like pro getting your protein in. So especially like if you look at, so what I've done recently is I watched the documentary on, I think it was one of Mo Farah's track sessions. And I mean, if you look at the elites, they live by the philosophy of you need to get protein in your body within like that crucial minute after, or crucial few minutes. They say up to half an hour of like a hard session. So when they finish a track session, they immediately go for that protein shake.
Yeah.
And they want their body to get refueled straight away because they know that they'll then build the muscle and recover as soon as possible. So I really try and follow that. So whenever I do a hard track session, a hard tempo session, I try and get that protein in within that crucial half an hour period. I try and get natural proteins in, but when I can't, I just take a scoop of like diet whey protein.
Okay.
So I keep a diet whey to stay lean. I obviously don't want to build too much muscle, and then that just helps you recover and gives fuel to your body. So big fan of protein, and then obviously like I'll generally have, let's say, like a piece of chicken or salmon or tuna with salad or veggies, and then I have quite a lot of fruit. I make I don't know if you've ever seen, I've been, since lockdown actually, I've been getting creative with like, instead of, I found that I was binging on like junk to get energy before a run. So
On
now
what? Sorry.
I just on like on rubbish food. So I would have
Rubbish. Okay.
I would have something that's not that healthy, just because I was hungry. But so what I do now is I make like fuel balls during the week to
Oh
last.
yeah, I've seen them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's quite a few recipes that I've been trying, but it's sort of things like chucking oats, dates, almonds.
Because they melted last week a little bit in the heat, didn't
Yeah, it melted in the heat. Yeah, it didn't
they?
really work out too well.
Yeah.
So I make a whole lot of those for the week, and I'm like, okay, cool. These are not to snack on. These are very high in calories, but it's good calories, and it's calories I need for my sessions. So these are my balls for the week, and like, yeah, and that's what I have. So yeah, I'm more than happy to share the recipes that I've. If anyone would like, or if you'd like, let me know, and I can send them through. But that's been helping me stay away from junk food.
Brilliant. Yeah, I mean, what you're saying there, diet-wise, is pretty much exactly the same as what I do. Like on easy days, I have a lot of protein, a lot of vegetables,
Yeah.
and I barely have any kind of normal carbs, I guess, like pasta or bread. I know, you can class fruits as carbs in a way, but you know what I mean, like the starchy carbs, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, if it's like a hard session, as you say, I will have like bread or gels, obviously, and pasta, just to really give you that energy, because obviously you're going to be working harder. On the easy days, you can kind of get away with, burning your fat and staying lean. So, I guess we're pretty similar in that respect. And I eat a lot of meat as well, pretty much every day, which I know I should probably cut down on, just for like ethically, and maybe it is healthier. Who knows? But yeah, in that respect, we definitely follow a similar kind of routine. But yeah, just to finish on, you're obviously a coach, and by the looks of things on Instagram, you're doing a great job. Looks like an awesome community. You've got an awesome new website, which has just come out in the last kind of week or so, and looks super professional. I know you've been giving me some tips as I get mine underway. But yeah, just to finish with, obviously a lot of people have struggled under lockdown for various reasons, struggled to stay motivated. Totally understandable for the lack of races. What would you say are the main things you could tell people, maybe just two or three, that would, kick start them into kind of running again? Maybe they've stopped, maybe they're just not interested anymore. What would you say?
Okay, so let me give three bits of advice for that. So But yeah, just going back to a point of this whole coronavirus situation and lockdown, I mean, it hasn't been easy for anyone at all. It's been very, very, very tough for a lot of people out there. And I'm just really thankful that obviously I use running as my therapy a lot of the time. And for me, nothing clears my head more than a good run. And I hope, that's the case for a lot of other people out there. So I'm
Yeah.
just blessed to be able to run, first of all, and use it as my therapy, and that's helped me a lot. So I hope it's helped a lot of people out there. But yeah, so I would say three things to help stay motivated. The first one is that running in the beginning is very tough for everyone, and it's definitely not always enjoyable. Like, yeah, you might see me post pictures of me smiling in runs and crushing PBs here and there and breaking 230 here and yeah, but it's not enjoyable. Like a lot of the times, it's not enjoyable, and those are the times you got to work through. And the more you do it, the more enjoyable it becomes. So
Yeah.
it's a very rewarding sport. So in the beginning, like it's tough, and it's always gets tough. You just get used to it and you recover quicker. But every single time you go, it gets that tiny bit more enjoyable, and that tiny bit more enjoyable, and just a little bit, and then you start really looking forward to it. I mean, in the beginning, I hated running.
Yeah.
I actually need it in my life, and nothing clears my head and helps me out more than a run. So I would say, yeah, just know that in the beginning it's not always enjoyable, but the more you do it, the fitter you get and the more enjoyable it gets. The other
100%. Just quickly, like I completely agree with that. That's possibly the biggest tip. I just say, I know it might be hard now. I know you might not, but if you could just stick and just do it, even if you're hating it, like just give it a go for a little bit. If you're doing it for months and years and it's you still hating it, then fair enough. But
Yeah,
it will likely get a lot easier and you'll enjoy it a lot more the more you do. So yeah, I completely agree.
exactly. And then so the second thing I would say is to get something in your schedule. So I've committed to this marathon. I know why I did it as well is because mentally I was up for a marathon this year. Physically I was up for one. So I know that actually your races might be cancelled, official races might be cancelled. The easy way out could have been like, it's cancelled, let me not do it. But that's not the attitude that I have, and it's not the attitude that a lot of people in my group have, and a lot of people should actually have the attitude, well, I wanted to do one, I'm still going to do one.
Yeah.
Let me commit to something. And I mean, it's obviously it's incredibly tough semi-training for something that you think might or might not go ahead. That's why I said, cool, if London goes ahead on the 4th, I'm doing London. If it doesn't, I'm doing this one. So I'm doing this one. It doesn't really matter to me too much. So I would say, even if it's a 5K goal or a 10K goal or a 21K goal or a 3K goal, whatever it is, put that in your diary and commit to it. So
Yeah.
there's a big group of us committed on this date to do that, and that just makes things so much easier. If you don't have anything to train for, all those 50-50 runs, I can guarantee you'll miss them because you
100%.
might sleep in a bit. But actually, I know that it's now just under 7 weeks that I'm doing a marathon. So it's like, okay, I need to hit these sessions. I want to hit these sessions. I
Yeah.
want it to be comfortable on the day. So try and get something in the diary. Try and join this race if you can. It's awesome. There's
Yeah.
a lot of us doing it. And then the last bit of advice is, I would say, you're allowed to run in up to groups of 12 at the moment. It's been hard for a lot of people because you've been staying at home and you've been doing a lot of Zoom calls and tiring quizzes and um, things online that just people are getting over, and they just take time, and they're tiring and time consuming. To actually get like interaction with other people and to chat to someone on a run is so much nicer. So like I like meeting in small groups. So I obviously host the track session on a Tuesday,
Yeah.
and it's like the running is actually a small part of it. It's just nice to get together as a community, and you push harder. You hold each other liable. So I would say, plan to, even if it's just one friend, plan to meet up with them twice or three times a week, and then you hold each other accountable for that. Um, and yeah, obviously, I mean, I'm not promoting that you do big massive group runs,
Mm.
because you obviously need to follow social distancing measures. But if you just have a small group of people, that should motivate you to not let them down, and they obviously won't want to let you down. So that's probably my 3 main tips at the moment.
Brilliant. Yeah. No, completely agree with all of them. Setting small goals and targets. We both know, like, we've got 5K goals at the minute. It's a marathon. And kind of, as you say, when it is a 50-50 run, there's no chance you're going to say no because you know you've got to get it done.
Exactly.
And just go. What was your last point again? Sorry, I forget quickly.
To meet up with people, so to hold each other accountable.
Yeah, so going with friends, and as well, if you can get a friend that's got a similar target, so you kind of keep each other accountable.
Yeah.
It's such a big factor in like your motivation for training. So yeah, I couldn't agree more with all three of those, and I think that's a brilliant way to kind of wrap up this whole call, which has been awesome. If you just quickly like to leave details and website, finally how people can sign up for the race, Nick, that would...
Yeah, sure. So my Instagram is JustAlilBester, and that's the same for my website. So it's
I love
www.justalilbester.com.
it.
Yeah, so it's a good surname to have actually, eh?
It is.
And then it's under, so the link is in my Instagram bio. If it might not be on there all the time, then it's under the blog section of my website. So you just go onto my website under blog. The race is called Give It Your Bester. And yeah, and you can sign up from there. All the details for the race is in there. All the sponsors details. There's loads of lucky draws to be won. There's loads of prizes. There's going to be prizes for category winners and stuff like that. So the more the better, in my view.
Definitely, yeah. I'm taking part. There'll be loads of people taking part. It's an awesome event. As I said, I can't believe how many sponsors and prizes are involved. And again, it's just something to look forward to and, something to be excited for. So, thanks for setting it up, Nick, and I can't wait to be a part of it.
That's an absolute pleasure. Thanks for the chat, and I'm looking forward to seeing how you do in the half marathon. What's your target?
Oh, see, as I said, I'm training for a 5K, but half marathon at the minute. Oh, 80 minutes maybe. I don't know. I don't know if I'll do it flat out, to be honest. It'll depend what I'm doing with my 5K training. But 80 minutes would be maybe 8 minutes a bit too ambitious actually thinking about it. But
what's your PB?
I got a 76:11 a couple of years ago.
Okay.
But yeah,
focus on the 5. Enjoy the half. We'll build up to the half.
That's all right.
I said focus on your 5K for now. I'll let you enjoy the half and not go all out this time. We'll do it next time, okay?
Yeah. Sounds good, man. Sounds good. All right, but again, thanks for joining me, Nick. I'm sure we'll have lots of talks as we're both connected with Prehab as well. I guess we can mention that as well, which is awesome. And you'll hear lots and lots about Prehab in the coming weeks/months. But yeah, thanks again, Nick, and I'll talk to you soon.
Cheers, Harry. Great chat. Keep well, eh?